Greetings, my dear beloved children. Today I want to tell you about what your divine matrix is and what role it plays in the ascension process. But first you need to understand clearly the meaning of the word itself. The matrix is the subtle material twin of a person. It contains all the essence of a person, both individual and accumulated under the influence of various programs of the third dimension world. The human matrix is multi-layered. Those layers that are closest to the physical body reflect the human essence, and only two outer layers contain the divine component. By and large, we are talking here about the subtle bodies of a person, but in this case we will look at them from a slightly different viewpoint, not quite usual to you. For clarity, imagine a human matrix in the form of hazelnut in a golden shell. The kernel of a nut is the physical body of a person, and all the rest of his subtle bodies are intermediate elements between it and this golden shell, which keeps them within the limits outlined by the person themselves at the present stage of spiritual development. For people who are still at the very beginning of the spiritual path, these layers are compressed and almost embedded in the physical body of a person. Thus, the individuality is practically suppressed, and the person lives according to the programs of the third dimension world, not daring to take a single step away from usual stereotypes of thinking and behavior. But the more humans' conscience changes, the broader the boundaries of their deliberate existence become, the basis of which is not patterns imposed from the outside, but the personal perceiving of people, events and life in general. And then the kernel, the human physical body, begins to move away from the golden shell, which is the divine hypostasis of a person. It already can move free in the shell, being not clamped by vice of third dimensionality. In other words, it already exists separately from the rest of the subtle bodies, with which it is now connected only in energy sense, and not physically, emotionally and mentally. This happens when all the mental and behavioral patterns that are stored in the subtle bodies of a person have already been eliminated. Thus, between the human physical body and the divine shell there remain energy layers, free from all programs of the third dimension world. And if you shake this nut, then its kernel will hit the walls of the shell in energy vacuum that has formed. In fact, this vacuum is nothing else but extremely rarefied subtle bodies. Due to this, the physical body of a person is already able to touch unhindered the atomic body, the divine shell of the human matrix. And then the very long-awaited integration of the human and divine essence will occur, which will allow your physical body to withstand the energy load that was impermissible up till now, overcoming, one after another, the energy barriers of its own subtle bodies, gradually being freed from the heavy energies of the third dimension world. It will finally acquire completely different parameters and thus become a light crystal body, able to move to the fifth dimension without disembodiment, and keeping personal physical features. It will unite with your atomic body into the one divine matrix, and the other subtle bodies of yours will acquire completely different parameters, since now they will be saturated with the energies of the highest vibrations from both sides, from above and below. Here we will stop today. Loving you endlessly, Father Absolute spoke to you. Greetings, my dear beloved children. To continue my yesterday message, I would like to tell you about ways for speeding up the process of creating your divine matrix. And today we will put our focus on the energy interaction of the physical and etheric bodies of man. As you already know, the etheric body is the exact twin of your physical body, with the only difference that it is not manifested externally, that is, it is invisible for you. The etheric body can be compared with the center of processing of all your thoughts and emotions, and some of them, depending on their quality, then appear in the physical body in the form of a dysfunction of one or another organ. Most people, obsessed with the passions of the third dimension world, have the etheric body so polluted that it corresponds to a dark silhouette, tightly adjacent to the physical body. And as a rule, such a person suffers from a whole bunch of various diseases. So, the negative energies emitted by them literally devour their bodies. But since it is thoughts and emotions that determine the quality of a person's etheric body, it is possible to change their direction, purify their etheric body, thereby healing their own diseases. Perhaps this interconnection of physical and etheric bodies is the most striking example of the way the laws of the universe manifest themselves in human life. And if a person from childhood absorbed spiritual knowledge and were guided by it throughout their life, they could avoid so many tragedies and diseases. But now unique time has come when the energies of the highest vibrations have come, that the universe itself, the forces of light and your star families send you to help. Thanks to them, every awakened person, regardless of their age, is able to quickly and efficiently cleanse their etheric body from all the negative energies accumulated in it, so that it will help them get rid of many diseases acquired in their entire life, thereby having prepared their physical body for the transition to a higher dimension. But this will be accessible only to those who can completely clear their conscience from all negative programs to tune their receiving set in such a way that they can now pick up only the divine energy waves. It is these waves that will gradually purify the etheric bodies of these people, and then their physical bodies will start purifying and transforming, being healed and regaining their strength, flexibility and youth. My dears, try to apply this simple practice every time your receiving set goes astray and picks up the waves of judgment, irritation, discontent, offense. Imagine the tuning knob of this receiving set in your heart chakra in the crystal of love, and as soon as you feel that an unwanted thought or emotion has entered your conscience, turn this knob in your mind eye, aligning the tuning and catching the desired wave of love and gratitude. Make this your habit, my dears, and let it become your lifesaver in everyday life, which often provokes you to outbursts of negative emotions, thereby testing your spirit and your ability to rise to the occasion even in the most difficult situations. Here we will stop for today. Loving you endlessly, Father Absolute spoke to you. Greetings, my dear beloved children. Today we will continue the conversation about the etheric body of a person and move on to the practical part of working with it. Since in the third dimension the etheric body is directly connected with the emotional, mental and causal bodies that supply it with the material which it is formed from, we will dwell on its interaction with each of these bodies in more detail. And we will start with the emotional body that corresponds to your third chakra, while the etheric body corresponds to the second one. This time we will consider the interaction of these bodies and the subtle sense organs corresponding to them that are the chakras, in terms of the formation of a new light crystal human body. Now this is of particular importance, since the transformation of your bodies cannot happen only due to new energies and the help of the higher powers. Your own participation in this process is one of the main components, since in this way your free will and desire to change the physical body to that state that will allow it to move with the earth into the fifth dimension will be manifested. Now I will give you a practice which helps you deeply purify your etheric body from all accumulated in it inharmonious emotions which have been supplied to it throughout your life by the emotional body, which is the repository of your emotional outbursts. We will call this practice emotional purification. To do this, you need to plunge into a fairly deep meditation. So, call on all your heavenly helpers, relax completely and breathe deeply for some time. Then try to see your etheric body and examine it in detail, each of its organs, bones, muscles, skin, circulatory system. Ask to show you all its weaknesses and flaws. Someone may not see, but feel at the physical level those organs that are unhealthy respond to your call. It can be tingling and even sharp pain, hot or cold flushes, and maybe vibration in this or that part of the body. Everyone will get a manifestation of it in one own way. One who has clairvoyance can receive verbal clues from higher self or heavenly helpers one way or another, but you must feel your body respond to your call, and determine what is wrong with it, where there is already a problem, and where it is only beginning. But remember that you are talking not with the physical, but with the etheric body in which the disease can only arise. And it is quite possible that it has not yet descended to the physical level. And as soon as you feel the signals of your etheric body for help, wholeheartedly ask it for forgiveness for the suffering that you caused it willingly or unwillingly with your negative emotions. And then ask the energy of the Supreme Creator of the universe and all your heavenly helpers to heal the organ that took over your emotional blows, to dissolve all the negative energies accumulated in it. Feel the sick organ basking in the divine energy of love. How good and calm it is. It gets rid of pain, begins to glow joyfully, each of its cells is renewing, rejuvenating, as if it was born again. And, which is most important, my dear ones, promise to it that from now on you will remember of it every minute, every second of your life, and no longer make it suffer because of your thoughtless emotional bombardments that destroy your perfect divine organism. Perhaps you need to do more than one such meditation. Take your time, carefully work through your entire etheric body. Remove all negative ties between the etheric and emotional bodies so that henceforth only the energy of love will unite them. I bless you and love you endlessly. Father Abs.